Well, yesterday at the dinner table was not how I anticipated things going, but I wanted to get the principle into you guys so that you understand why I'm telling you what I'm telling you, and what perspective I'm coming from. So to do that, I have to rewind all the way back to when I was 20 years old. And I went into the Air Force not knowing what I was doing, how I was doing, or any kind of assessment of where I was at a particular day. So every single day I showed up to work, worked really hard, did what people told me to do, but I didn't know if I was doing good or not. And I always constantly evaluated myself against other people that I admired and went, wow, I want to be like that guy, I want to be like that gal, I want to be like that person. But what I didn't understand is that the work that I was doing was preparing me for all of that. But because I couldn't see a pathway of how I was getting from point A to point B with my personal development, I was constantly looking at other people and going, well, I'm better than that person, but I'm not better than that person. So depending on who I evaluated myself against, determined whether I was doing a good job or I was doing a bad job. And then that affected my confidence, whether I had a lot of confidence or I had very little confidence, where I was in a group setting with people that I really respected and admired, and I was intimidated and timid and anxious, versus if I was around a bunch of people that I knew I had developed myself further than, then I was confident and laughable and having a good time. And so what I wanted to do was to figure out a way to be able to assess myself in the moment, in the day, in the week, in the month, in the year, to determine how I was progressing. Because what I didn't like is I didn't like showing up to something and going, okay, I'm a horrible guy. I'm so far behind. My grades are bad. My running's bad. My athleticism's bad. My career is bad. My relationships are bad. And then having some competition or some evaluation or some test and all of a sudden realizing, wow, I'm in the top of all of these areas. So on Thursday, I thought I was horrible. And then on Sunday, when I took a test, I would find out that I'm doing really good. And so what I wanted to be able to do was be able to assess myself accurately. And that's what I was trying to communicate. When you guys evaluate yourselves against somebody else and you say, hey, I'm not as fast as Brooke, so I'm a bad runner. Well, that's not a true assessment. Brooke's been running longer. She's been training harder. If I look at somebody and go, I don't have those kind of grades, therefore I'm bad at something, it makes this bad evaluation of where you're particularly at and where you're growing. Right now, Hudson is doing 5th grade math, which is 2 grades above his level. But if he looks at Haley's math, he's going to go, I'm not as smart as Haley. But that shouldn't break his confidence because he's progressing. And that's why I decided the solution was to get rid of everybody else's thought process and just look at how I was progressing. What was I at yesterday and how am I progressing to today? And constantly testing myself. Now, I would look at other people for inspiration and motivation and to see what was possible, but I would never expect that what my results would be dependent upon somebody else's behavior. If somebody's worked for 3 years on figuring out how to engineer a house, I wouldn't expect on day 1 or week 1 or month 1 that I would have that same kind of experience. Quite frankly, I don't even want it. I don't like underdogs winning. I don't like people that don't work hard to beat the people that do work hard. Now, there's a lot of components into determining who's working hard and not, but what I'm saying is the best way for you guys to determine your worth or your progress or your confidence is determined based on your personal development and how you're going from what you were yesterday, building it to what it is today and what you're becoming in the future. And if you can have a system on which you can measure that and show that, hey, I did this today and it got me a little bit further, and I did this today and it got me a little bit further, I think you're going to be more satisfied knowing that, hey, today I'm confident that I grew. Today, I'm confident that I added to my grades, I added to my health, I added to my relationships, I added. And when I do that over a long period of time, you're going to have really great finish lines where you're going to break a 2:15 800-meter run, or you're going to run your best mile time, or you're going to get your best grades, or you're going to have somebody that really cares about you and you're going to have this relationship that's really improving and benefiting your life. You're going to find crazy, miraculous things that happen by those small, consistent activities of where you're trying to progress and grow. That's why I love the math books. That's like why I love running. Because you can test yourself every single day. I worked hard, I trained for a week, how did I run on Saturday? And maybe you have a bad run, but looking over a month period of testing, you may go, wow, I've really improved my running. And so guys, you gotta stop looking at other people and determining whether you have worth. You gotta stop looking at other people and going, well, I'm better than them, and becoming constant. Because once you find out you're better than somebody, you may stop progressing. And if you do that for a long period of time, you're gonna end up in a really bad spot. That's what I was trying to communicate to you today, or last night at the dinner table, is that you have tremendous worth. And the things that you're progressing about, you should be really proud of. And you can measure that. And if you can see that you're doing those things over a long period of time, you're going to get really great results. So I don't want to hear anymore in our family that I'm better than that person or I'm better than that person and that makes me great. The only thing that makes you great and responsible before God is if you take what He's given you and you do the most with it. And the most that you can do today and be perfect in that is progressing from where you are and improving what you can improve in a 24-hour period. And then taking the next 24-hour period. And then taking the next week and the next month and the next year and becoming more and more and more, reaching the full potential in each day and each moment of what God's intended you to be. That's what God says in Philippians. He says, I am the perfecter and author of your faith. I am determining how you're progressing. I am going to lead you down a road. And if you look at the scriptures and you start to look at different ways that God wants to develop you from His word, and you work on that day after day after day after day, you're going to end up in some pretty great places. He's going to bless you abundantly. That's what I want for your guys' life. So in our family, we're not going to evaluate ourselves against other people to determine our worth, our confidence, our skill set, or ability. If you want to know that you're good at something, put 10,000 hours into it and then evaluate it. And I can guarantee you that you're going to be the best in that area. Not the best, like the only best, but in the top echelons of people that work in that area. Whether that's schooling, whether that's a career, whether that's a relationship, whether that's your Bible study, whatever it is. When you put a lot of time and effort and get better every single day, not repeating the same thing every day, but growing every single day, you will undoubtedly become something really significant and amazing. So that's where we're going to build our confidence. We are not going to build our confidence by going into a race against a bunch of slow people and saying, yeah, we won. Or looking at everybody else's grades and saying, I got better grades than them. What are you becoming? What are you putting the best towards? And not looking at other people and saying, I'm better than that or worse than that. But using that to inspire, wow, that person did that. If I put 5,000 hours into working in that same concerted effort, that would be a goal I would want. If I go to school for 6 years and become a doctor, that's something that I would want. But wanting that on year one is foolish. Wanting that after 6 years of you working really hard, diligently in the same direction, you become a doctor, that's a worthy goal. But you can look at other people to be inspired, motivated, to determine what sparks your interest, but not as an evaluation to determine your worth, your abilities, or your confidence. Your abilities are based on where you're working consecutively, day after day, to grow and progress towards the thing that God has intended for you. Does that make sense? I'm not trying to beat you guys down. I want you to put you in the right motivation and the right understanding to be able to determine where you can feel satisfied every single day of your life, knowing that you have reached the full potential of what God has intended for you to be. And that is, what can you do in a 24-hour period to get closer to God by helping the people around you in your faith, your family, your health, your finances, your intellect, your community, and your career. All right? That's what I was trying to express. I didn't do that in love. I didn't show you this really great principle that will satisfy you in your life and help you in your life in a way that you guys could receive it yesterday. That's my fault. That's my error. That's an area where I need to not evaluate myself against other people. I don't yell as much as that guy. I'm not as bad of a father as that guy. I need to say that God wants to develop this in me, and I need to start working towards it. So I'm trying something new. You guys can learn some of my principles through video, and then you can ponder it, and then we can have a conversation about it. I love you guys. Please, please live your life in trying to figure out what God is reaching for you, what God wants for you, how He's authoring and perfecting your faith, your life, in progressive growth over a long period of time, not evaluating yourself against others. And then pass this principle on to other people. Your responsibility is when you're given a gift that you use it, and then you give it on. When you pass this on, you don't lose anything. So who are you going to help? And go, hey Avery, hey Lexi, hey Rhea, hey Eric, hey Ella. Don't evaluate yourself against other people. Evaluate yourself against what you were a week ago, a month ago, a year ago. And what are you going to become? So pass this message on to them. They need it too. I love you guys. Bye.